we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the Victoria Cast Iron Skillet, which just might be the most technologically advanced cast iron skillet on the market. But why? Let's get into it. Hey, I'm Jed, this is Cook Culture. So I'm come back to the Victoria Signature Cast Iron Pan. A few weeks ago, I did a deep review on this, two different styles of exactly the same pan, one with a satin finish, one with a polish finish. Came to a very similar result for both pans. But this guy here, really, really cool, this handle. So the handle on this pan is really, really unique. And so I got to thinking, like, how did they do this? I don't see this kind of handle on any other pan on the market. And so I, kind of looked around and tried to figure out, does anybody else do something so wonderfully unique? And no, I couldn't find anything like this. So I was fascinated to learn more. I wanted to know how do they able to make the handle so incredibly thin. This brass input here, which is really, really cool on its look and feel, different sort of texture than cast iron. How did this come together? So this handle also, not only does it look cool, it stays very, very cool. And so, okay, one cool, the other cool. It looks cool, it stays cool, two different cools. I get that. But the handle really does. It stays amazingly cool when you're using this. I've had this pan cranked up, like really hot for 15, 20 minutes of cooking, and the handle is still cool. Which, for a handle of this sort of shape, that kind of length is unheard of. And this is why. But cast iron is brittle. You can break cast iron if you drop it. And I have several times in my life, from a fairly high level, I've dropped cast iron onto a thinner handle and I've broken it. And so there's a lot of leverage that goes on a handle like this when you're holding this pan. It's gonna get kicked around and beat up in the kitchen. And you wanna make sure that this is not going to break. So how does this happen? There's also another few aspects of this pan and its design, how it came to be, the type of seasoning that I wanted to know more about. So I reached out to the fine folks at Victoria, and I got to talk to the third generation manager or owner of Victoria Cast Iron. They're in Colombia. And so Manuel was kindly spent a bunch of time with me and told me all about how this all came together. So we'll go through this piece by piece. I'm broken down our interview to try to make this a little bit more digestible because we did kind of go on about a lot of things. I can't stop myself from talking to people about cast iron when I get somebody like them on the horn. But we're gonna start off here talking about this amazing handle.
So basically what we wanted to do was to build a luxury brand to get into competing to that segment. But we start seeing that there were a lot of, like we said, like color stuff. And we were more focused towards the vintage American cast iron. But we thought, okay, how can we make it different? How can we make a better product? And then is where we developed this Pharaoh's recipe, which makes our pan literally indestructible. So that property in the functional and the usage becomes very relevant because we machine the bottom. It gets rid of probably
machine the bottom of the pan.
No, the inside of the pan.
Oh, okay, yes, yeah, machine the bottom of that one. Yeah.
So it reduces 20% of the weight of the pan.
Okay.
But this Pharaoh's recipe ensures that with the thermal expansion, it's not gonna break. And the other thing that helps us do is to allows us to create extreme geometries that otherwise in the regular recipe wouldn't be possible. For example, that handle. So that handle, we get rid of a lot of material in order to delay the thermal expansion, giving the consumer a way better cooking experience. So we play with a lot of cool shapes, but at the end we said, okay, the design has to be as exceptional as the product. So we started talking with this New York guy named Scott Henderson. He's a very famous designer, and he came up with the shape. We had the idea, but he gave it the looks, basically.
Okay. Good on you for doing that, because it's a sexy pan. Yeah. So what I'm hearing from you is that when I ask you the question about the handle and how you made this handle so exceptional, it's because of the way the entire pan is made, is what you're saying, right?
It's because the recipe allows us to make very slim. For example, in a regular pan,
yeah,
you need all of this. You need all of this material to ensure it's not going to break. But because Spheros is an indestructible recipe, we can make those two slim. We can make these thin walls.
Right.
If we were going to make these walls in the regular recipe, will probably break easy.
Right. Yeah. Or anytime you knock it or drop it or close a cabinet door on
exactly,
it. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And like that, we can be completely safe. Well, I mean, we can be completely confident that it's going to last whatever.
Okay. So getting geeky on this, tell me what does that mean? So like in the metal, if you take the recipe for the Victoria brand and then the recipe for the signature, what are you doing differently without revealing, of course, secrets and stuff? But like, why can you do that with the Victoria, with the signature and not the Victoria?
Okay. So if you look at the molecular structure of the iron, you will see in the gray iron, which is the regular iron, you will see stripes. So when pressure is added, those stripes tend to crack. What we're doing with our recipe is turning those stripes, which are made of graphite, we're turning into spheres. So when pressure is added, the spheres simply move instead of cracking. How do we make this? It's a recipe that has been used in the automotive industry, never has been applied to cookware, and is just magnesium.
It's adding magnesium?
It's adding magnesium, obviously, in a certain moment, in a certain amount that allows us to create these spheres.
Okay.
Therefore, the name is Spheros.
Okay, so there is that handle. Very, very cool. Magnesium in the iron, which that I guess makes sense. I did some reading about that, and yes, it is used. It's very common in the automotive industry, but not in cookware, it doesn't seem. Part of the reason that they're able to do this is that they control their own foundry. So a lot of makers will have their pans made by a foundry, and then they'll finish their pans. But Victoria, they have their entire own operation. So their casting is exactly as they want it all the time. So that is a really fantastic advantage for them. So going forward, right now, the signature line does the 10 and 12 inch skillets. And I'm interested to know what they're doing into the future. So let's get into that.
Well, we're just launching our new Dutch oven, which is also Spheros. It's also about 20% less heavy than the competition.
Well, that's exciting. So you got an oven coming, and then what's on the schedule after that?
Well, we do have griddles. That will be like another small segment inside the line. We have smaller pans, grill pans. So little by little, we're going to grow the line.
The design so far is just gorgeous. Very much love that you guys have done something just outside of the box. I personally appreciate that. I love heritage. I have a lot of good, wonderful heritage cookware that gives me a lot of enjoyment to look and touch and feel it. But like your pans, just this unique, cool shape, that the sharpness to it, the edging that you guys have used, and especially that handle, it's just such a unique, cool piece. I think it's going to become, something like now when we look back at 50s designs, early 50s designs of
it's very Art Deco.
It's very Art Deco, and I appreciate that you've gone there because no one else filled that space, and you guys created a new design within a very saturated space. So, kudos to you.
That was, so we wanted to make something special. My grandfather created the company 85 years ago. He started at 16 years old. He started by doing toy soldiers. So that's why you have the soldier in the back. But we wanted to do something really special, like when Ferrari launched the Enzo Ferrari.
Yeah.
We wanted our Ferrari, regardless if it was a commercial success, we just wanted to have something exceptional and being known not for just doing regular pieces, which are awesome and have really cool design features, but something different.
Okay, so it's obvious there's a ton that has gone into making the entire Victoria brand. So Victoria Skillets and Signature. But they were obviously operating a pretty large operation, producing lots and lots of cast iron. Why make Signature? So I was interested, like, why peel this off and why try to compete in the kind of the uber high end of cast iron pans?
It was something that me and my father wanted to do. We had to convince a lot of people. We had to work on this for 3 years, but it's, as I said, we wanted to make a Ferrari, and regardless of the commercial success, it came out an amazing product, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you. I see that clearly. I understand. I can see the passion. I can see the time that was put into this thing. And, I think more people just need to know what it's all about and your whole entire story. So I'm happy to get up on my soapbox and yell loudly.
Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, my pleasure. It's exciting. The more I can do to help people be using cookware that will last them for generations, the better our planet will be. That's my driver. That's where it comes at for me.
That's our purpose. Our company purpose is to teach people I'm just translating in my head. Is to teach people how to feed or eat consciously, generation after generation.
All right, Manuel, thank you so much for your time today. I think what you've told me has been really, really instructional for me of learning how these pans are made and why I love this handle so much. So I appreciate what you're doing and keep rocking. I'm looking forward to see what you're going to be doing with the Signature line.
Thank you very much, Jed. Yeah, it's a dream that we had for many years, and hopefully starts doing better and better. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, I learned a ton. I just absolutely love this pan. I'm really excited about what these guys are doing. I think they're a bit of the underdog, it feels like. They know they have to work 10 times harder to try to break into the North American market because, like, let's be honest, that's where cast iron's home is in the world. If America is consuming cast iron, a brand will be successful. So that makes a lot of sense. I know they do have tentacles all around the world. Victoria is a large company and they do export all over the place. But this Signature pan does make a lot of sense for the North American, Canadian, and American market. So super stoked about this. Any questions, any comments, please throw them below. If you know other pans that are similar, are there unique questions that you didn't get answered today that I can find out for some time in the future? Let me know. It's absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much. Take care.